He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. Have you ever felt that life becomes too difficult, full of challenges and injustices? Each day seems like an endless battle. But remember, it is the reason to live that helps you overcome everything. This famous quote by Nietzsche is a powerful reminder that when we find a greater reason to exist, all the obstacles on our path will no longer be insurmountable. From quotes like this, we not only learn how to face difficulties, but also uncover profound lessons about the purpose of life, resilience, and determination. In this article, we will explore the valuable life lessons hidden in these quotes and how they can help you build a more meaningful life. Each quote carries a profound philosophy, reflecting the core values and perspectives that individuals must recognize in order to live fully and meaningfully. Below is a detailed analysis of famous quotes, each of which opens a new perspective on life, encouraging us to live strongly, freely, and constantly search for the truth. Let's explore the valuable lessons hidden in these seemingly simple words. Friedrich Nietzsche affirmed a profound truth. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. Nietzsche's words are not just a reminder, but also a deep truth about the power of purpose in life. When facing difficulties, people sometimes feel like they can't continue. But this quote affirms that only when we have a solid reason to live can we overcome any challenge. Purpose is not just the reason we continue walking the path of life, but also the endless source of motivation that helps us find hidden strength, overcoming hardships that might seem impossible to overcome. In a world full of hardships, challenges, and sometimes dead ends, having a reason to live will be the guiding light that helps us never give up. Nietzsche understood that each person needs a noble goal, a true reason to exist. It could be love, career, the desire to change the world, or simply the wish to live fully in each moment. When we realize that reason, every suffering or challenge becomes surmountable because the great goal transcends all temporary difficulties. This quote also reflects Nietzsche's view on the power of will. Will is not just following what others require, but the determination to walk the path we believe in. When we have a reason to live, we find the infinite strength to overcome adversity and grow stronger than ever. It is not just a story of resilience, but also about the ability to change, changing ourselves to face challenges, and changing the way we perceive life. When Nietzsche says can bear almost any how, he is not only emphasizing human endurance, but also suggesting that humans can transform any situation into an opportunity for growth. Whether facing pain, failure, or loss, when we have a reason to live, we will always find a way to make life meaningful. Ultimately, the lesson Nietzsche's quote offers to future generations is the exploration of one's purpose in life. It is not an easy journey, but it is this journey that is the source of inner strength. When we have a reason to live, we not only find the ability to overcome every difficulty, but also build a meaningful life, leading us to greater success and happiness than ever before. Human beings, though capable of love and compassion, are also the cruelest creatures on earth. That's why Nietzsche said, "Man is the cruelest animal." This quote by Friedrich Nietzsche carries a strong statement about human nature, a statement that not everyone dares to admit, but reflects a deep part of his philosophy. Nietzsche was not shy to point out that, among all creatures in the world, humans are the cruelest, not just because of the evil actions we commit against other creatures, but also because of the self-destructive behaviors humans carry out towards themselves and others. This quote forces us to think deeply about how we treat each other, nature, and ourselves. From birth, humans have the capacity for both love and destruction. Nietzsche argued that while other animals follow their natural instincts, humans have the ability to go beyond instinct, creating value systems and actions that can sometimes be brutal, not only for personal gain, but also to establish or maintain power, control, and dominance. From endless wars to invasions, from domestic violence to social discrimination, humans have shown that they can act cruelly not only towards nature, but also towards their fellow humans. However, human cruelty is not only exhibited through violent actions, but also through more subtle behaviors, like deception, selfishness, and losing oneself in shallow relationships. Nietzsche wanted to point out that humans sometimes use their intelligence not to create good things for the world, but rather to harm, manipulate, and control. It is in these situations that we see the cruelty of the human mind, not only destroying what is external, but also the soul and deep moral values within each person. However, Nietzsche did not necessarily want to condemn humans. He also called on us to self-reflect on our nature, to honestly acknowledge the duality within each person. Only when we recognize the capacity for cruelty in ourselves can we begin a journey of change. When people are aware of their cruelty, they can choose to master it instead of being controlled by it. This is not a lamentation of humanity, but a warning, reminding us that in order to achieve true freedom, we must confront the darkness within our souls. This quote by Nietzsche is a lesson about self-awareness and responsibility for our actions. Humans have the right to choose between good and evil, between love and cruelty, and recognizing the potential cruelty within us is the key to changing the world. The great lesson Nietzsche wants to impart is that when humans recognize their cruelty, they will find ways to transform it into more humane and meaningful actions, contributing to building a better world for all. This confrontation not only requires awareness, but also requires each person with knowledge to face and critique all the relationships around them, not just with enemies, but also with close friends. Nietzsche said, "The man of knowledge must be able not only to love his enemies, but also to hate his friends." This quote by Friedrich Nietzsche evokes one of the deepest thoughts in his philosophy, as he presents a view that is somewhat opposed to conventional thinking about emotions and human relationships. While society often teaches that love and unity are the most important factors in relationships, Nietzsche argues that human understanding and intellect do not only lie in the ability to love, but also in the ability to accept opposing emotions, including hatred, even from those closest to us. To understand the meaning of this quote, we need to examine Nietzsche's concept of knowledge. A knowledgeable person is not just someone who possesses extensive understanding, but someone who can view the world and relationships objectively, not influenced by personal emotions and biases. Therefore, a person of knowledge must be clear-headed enough to love their enemies and hate their friends when necessary. This quote does not encourage hatred or conflict in relationships, but reminds us that true understanding is not just accepting what we love or find comfortable, but also understanding the contradictions in life and being able to face them clearly without being influenced by emotions. When Nietzsche says that a man of knowledge must be able to hate his friends, he does not encourage openly showing hatred or hostility in friendships. In fact, he means that a person of knowledge must be sharp and discerning enough to recognize when their friends are no longer true friends, or when loyalty and friendship have been exploited, even becoming an obstacle to personal growth. Close relationships can sometimes obscure the truth, preventing us from seeing others' flaws. Therefore, the ability to hate friends here is not hatred, but the ability to criticize, to confront the truth, and not be influenced by feelings in important decisions. This quote also reflects Nietzsche's view on independence in thought and action. A truly knowledgeable person does not allow themselves to be bound by societal expectations or dependent on personal relationships. They can love their enemies because they understand that everyone has their reasons and context for their actions. But they can also criticize and condemn close friends if that loyalty or friendship no longer aligns with their principles. This criticism is not hatred, but the truth and courage in facing contradictions in relationships. With this quote, Nietzsche not only affirms the importance of knowledge and the ability to critique in life, but also emphasizes that a truly knowledgeable person must balance love and hatred. They must know when to love, when to criticize, when to fight, and when to forgive. It is this balance that helps them maintain objectivity in thought and not be influenced by sudden emotions. This is a profound lesson for future generations. Do not let personal emotions cloud understanding and truth, and always be ready to see all aspects of life clearly and without bias. One of the most important things in the process of developing independent thinking is to appreciate differences. Nietzsche emphasized, the surest way to corrupt a youth is to instruct him, to hold in higher esteem those who think alike than those who think differently. And this quote by Nietzsche is not only a reflection on education, but also a warning to modern society about the dangers of blind conformity and how we nurture the younger generation. Nietzsche warns that when a young person is taught that agreement and uniformity in thought are the highest values, they will lose the ability to think independently and appreciate the diversity of life. This not only weakens creativity, but also impoverishes a person's ability to accept and learn new ideas. In a society increasingly dominated by common standards and rigid ideologies, encouraging the younger generation to respect only those who think like them is truly a setback. In such a society, different ideas, even those that could bring innovation and breakthroughs, are overlooked or rejected simply because they do not fit with the accepted norms. Nietzsche points out that in such a society, people no longer have the ability to develop critical thinking, no longer dare to challenge what is considered right. The younger generation will become soulless replicas, incapable of creative and free thought, merely following what has been taught without reflection or analysis. Nietzsche's approach is especially important today, as social media and mass media create an echo chamber, an environment where people are only exposed to reinforced opinions and views, with fewer opportunities to challenge or confront different thoughts. This is one of the reasons behind the division in society, as people with differing opinions are boycotted or considered enemies. Nietzsche wants to affirm that respecting and listening to opposing ideas is not only a way to expand our thinking, but also an essential part of building a developed and civilized society. When we teach the younger generation to only value those who think like us, we are truly distorting their ability to develop fully. Encouraging conformity instead of diversity creates a generation lacking flexibility and the ability to adapt to change in this increasingly complex and diverse world. Each difference in thought brings a new perspective, helping to enrich our knowledge and expand our problem-solving abilities. Therefore, Nietzsche encourages us, especially in education, not to impose rigid standards of what is considered right, but to teach the younger generation to appreciate and learn from differences, as that is the only way to build a truly free and progressive society. Finally, Nietzsche gives a profound warning. In order to grow, humans must be free to think, to accept and analyze different perspectives without fear of criticism or imposition. True education is not just about imparting knowledge, but teaching people to think independently, to learn from all aspects of life, and to constantly challenge accepted viewpoints. This is the only way we can nurture a generation that not only has intellect, but also the ability to face the great challenges of the era and contribute to the progress of society. All these viewpoints revolve around an essential factor that cannot be absent in any relationship and in life itself: trust. When trust is broken, everything becomes dull and irreparable. Nietzsche affirmed, "I'm not upset that you lied to me. I'm upset that from now on, I can't believe you." This statement by Nietzsche is not just a criticism of lying. It also reflects one of the most important values in human relationships: trust. When Nietzsche says that he is not upset by the lie, but by the fact that he can no longer trust the person, he is emphasizing a profound truth about the nature of relationships and how honesty affects them. For Nietzsche, trust is not something that can easily be restored once broken, and when trust is damaged, the relationship will never be the same again. Nietzsche's reflection is not just related to direct lies, but also implies the more subtle forms of dishonesty in everyday life. When someone lies, whether with good or bad intentions, they harm something essential in the relationship: sincerity. And when sincerity is replaced by deceit, we not only lose trust, but also lose the ability to see others truthfully. A single lie can fracture a relationship, but what Nietzsche wants to emphasize is that once trust is lost, everything will never return to the way it was. That relationship will no longer have openness or genuine connection. Nietzsche not only wants to criticize dishonesty, but also urges us to reflect on the long-term consequences of losing trust in a relationship. When trust is damaged, not only are past lies exposed, but suspicion will always linger, preventing us from seeing others impartially. Lost trust is also a necessary condition for building sustainable relationships. Once trust is violated, every word and action in the future will be questioned, and the connection between two people will gradually fade. This not only harms the relationship, but also leaves individuals feeling lonely and isolated in their interactions. With this statement, Nietzsche encourages us to understand that truth and trust are inseparable elements in any relationship. When trust is broken, nothing can replace the sense of safety and peace we have when we are with someone we trust. We need to recognize that, although lies may have reasons or justifications, once they break trust, this loss cannot be repaired with simple words or actions. This is an important lesson that Nietzsche wants to convey. To maintain and build a relationship, honesty and trust are the foundations that cannot be overlooked. Finally, the great lesson from Nietzsche's words is that truth is one of the core values, not only in personal relationships, but in all aspects of life. Losing trust is losing the ability to build truly sustainable and meaningful relationships. Therefore, each of us must understand that when honesty is protected and nurtured, trust will develop and relationships will become stronger. Nietzsche's words remind us that, although life may be full of challenges, trust remains the most precious thing we can give to each other. And when it is lost, everything changes forever. Looking back at these profound lessons, I invite you to embark on an intriguing journey: the life and career of Friedrich Nietzsche. So, what is the secret behind his great influence? As a renowned philosopher, Nietzsche not only created monumental works, but also raised philosophical questions about freedom, the value of life, and the confrontation with traditional moral systems. His life, full of turbulence and solitude, was a journey in search of the truth that never stopped. Nietzsche's persistence in thought, his ability to face personal suffering, and his controversial theories are the keys to his vast influence on the world of philosophy and modern culture. Friedrich Nietzsche's life and career were full of challenges and innovations. with revolutionary philosophical views that profoundly changed how we see humanity, society, and moral values. Born on October 15th, 1844, in Röcken, Germany, Nietzsche grew up in a family with a deep religious background. But from an early age, he began to doubt and question the values he was taught. The early years of his life, particularly the loss of his father when he was very young, formed a sense of solitude and deep reflection on life and the world around him. After studying philosophy and classical literature, Nietzsche pursued a career in teaching at the University of Basel in Switzerland, but poor health forced him to retire early. From there, he began his solitary life, writing and developing his philosophy. Nietzsche is famous for his groundbreaking works, such as Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Beyond Good and Evil, and On the Genealogy of Morals, in which he strongly criticized traditional moral values, particularly those built on religious foundations. One of Nietzsche's most prominent views was the death of God. God is dead, a message reflecting the decline of religion in Western society and the need to build a new value system, not based on religious dogma. Nietzsche argued that to achieve true freedom, humans must overcome the established moral and social values and create their own values for living. The concept of Übermensch, the overman or superman, is one of the key ideas in Nietzsche's philosophy. He believed that, to progress and evolve, humans need to transcend their limitations, abandon weak traits, and seek absolute freedom by creating and living by personal values. The will to power, one of his core theories, also plays an important role in this philosophy. Nietzsche believed that humans have an infinite power to shape their lives and transcend limits. And it is this will to power that drives individuals to constantly create and evolve. Although Nietzsche's philosophy was misunderstood and even misused in later centuries, especially in political debates and world wars, his legacy remains intact in Western culture. Nietzsche's thoughts on individual freedom, criticism of traditional morals, and the importance of creativity continue to influence modern philosophy, psychology, and other fields. Friedrich Nietzsche's story is not just about a philosopher, but about a man who dared to question everything and encouraged humanity to face the truth, thereby creating a new future unbound by old values. Nietzsche's gift to the world is a powerful call for freedom, creativity, and self-definition, teaching us that only by overcoming fear and limitations can we live a truly free and meaningful life. Friedrich Nietzsche asserted that when a person finds a reason to live, they will have the strength to overcome any challenge. The purpose of life becomes the guiding light in dark moments, helping us to face adversity with resilience. However, he also pointed out that human nature contains both cruelty and love, and to truly mature, we must face and transcend the darker aspects of our soul. Nietzsche emphasized that a person with knowledge must be able to criticize both friends and enemies, because only then can we have free thought and live sincerely. He encourages us to appreciate differences, for it is within this diversity of thought that we find endless creativity. Finally, Nietzsche reminds us that trust is the most valuable treasure in any relationship, and when trust is lost, everything around us becomes meaningless.